What's good, y'all? It's your boy Choji. And I don't even know what the video should be called, but it's just a thought that I've had about life, realizing the symmetry. Um, it's not the first time you've heard it either, but the symmetry between the approach of life and approach of playing a game, to the point that makes you wonder, is life itself a game? Because you just wake up every day behind these two eyes. You have no idea what you're doing here. You just do it. Just wake up every day. So sometimes I even wonder why we have feelings of like embarrassment and all these other things. We don't even know what the purpose of this stuff is. So like why, like how do you know that when you're doing something great that acts actually like in the totality embarrassing? And how do you know that when you actually do things that are embarrassing, that you've actually done the correct thing, you've actually succeeded or whatever? Like, we don't even know the purpose. We all just die and disappear out the scene, out the situation. But still, the thought still came. It's been ringing in my brain. How a lot of times when I'm speaking to people about their music, I'm speaking and we compare and we say, yo, the music game. Talk about how aspects of approaching things is like chess. Oh man, oh, we ain't playing checkers, man. We playing chess. Um, Even for myself, a lot of times I'll compare um making money to sports. Not just me, everyone compares making money to sports, the competitive nature of sports. But also, I this is where I was gonna say, and I cut myself off, cut my thought off. I like to compare the hustle of life to playing a lot of different games, not like one game. So, and I use a lot in music where I say, yo, I approach my music hustle like multiple games of chess and checkers and Monopoly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and Risk. Like, there's very different games happening at the same time. So, all those thoughts to say were um, levels, leveling up, graduating, succeeding. Right? A success means you've succeeded from one to another. You've actually just moved from position this to position that. That is literally what success is. So, um, when we are put in school, we're put in kindergarten and go to grade one, all the way through, and every year you pass, you succeed, the grade you are put into the higher grade. And then it got me further thinking about, well, what happens when you reach grade 12? Or you even do post secondary and you're finally done post secondary, you're in the workforce now, right? You're just out there. What is the metrics for seeing the leveling up? It's no longer grade one, grade two, and that's where my brain started to fart. And I was like, ooh, perfect. Let's get out the camera. This is perfect because either I will fart again right now in front of you guys, or I'll come up with some cool thoughts. But I never really thought about this, the complex of the fact that when you're young, you're taught to appreciate an authority figure telling you you succeeded. Here's the next frontier, right? And you get time off or whatever, summertime, you get so excited. September, you're going now to embark on the next tier, the next level. In video games, that's pretty similar, right? Like you could beat one level and then you go to the next level, or in RPGs or games that you have to develop, let's say a community or a village or whatever, you level up by gaining XP, right? So as you build this thing and you search and find these things and you process these resources, boom, you're collecting XP, or as you beat this boss and you beat that character, or you unlock this character, or whatever you're doing in the game, you get XP. You literally get experience points. And as you reach a certain plateau, that experience point evolves you to the next level, right? So you'll no longer be at level 10, you'll be at 11 because you accrued so many XP points that you've maxed out what you can achieve for that level, and it forces you to level up. I'm like, ooh, what does that look like in life? Like, what is the real? Because I'm starting to realize it's not that life is a game. Games are built off of the metrics and algorithms of life. Like, game developers are people in the, like, they're observing real life. So even if the game is completely made up out of thin air, has nothing to do with anything in reality, the thought process and the patterning of how that person's thinking to program that game is still going to have some real world applications, even if it's just numbers and accruing the idea of number growth. And in under these circumstances is how these numbers accrue. Can maybe apply to some weird scenario where you have an investment and your money is accruing growth in that same similar fashion when you do similar tasks. So all that to say, I'm like, damn, these games um, are really starting to show me something. Where, for instance, if you're not disciplined in checking in and getting certain bonuses or getting certain free things that you would normally just get for showing up, you miss out over periods of time. You might, uh, whatever you're building might die. Like, let's say it's a Tamagotchi. For folks who remember Tamagotchis, it was a virtual pet that every few hours or every hour or whatever, you better check in and feed him, change him, whatever, walk him or whatever you had to do, put him to bed, wake him up. All kinds of things you just had to do. But if you didn't check in, after a day or 2 days, he's dead. He'll literally, like, you'll come back and you'll see he's dead. You'll see a bunch of feces, digital feces sitting around him or her, basically telling you your pet was just defecating to death, like you didn't clean up, right? So, and showing you there's natural upkeeps in life that if you don't tap in, you lose out. So not only do you need to tap into accrue to gain, but you have to tap in to not lose. It starts showing me, oh damn, not only when I don't tap in do I not gain, but when I don't tap in, I also lose. I grow the potential of losing what I have already accrued from past work. And folks don't even understand that about life. A lot of people still don't pull that parallel into their life. So, for instance, my back, I have a bad back. Okay, 20 years of doing music production, horrible chairs and bad beds and situations that I just said, yeah, I'm roughing it for the music life. Now I have a bad back. So I have to do a lot of stretching every day. And if there's ever a period of time for 2, 3, 4 days a week passes and I'm not consistently like stretching and being conscious about keeping my back good, I just start getting so many bad pains. But when I'm doing it, not only do the bad pains not come, but I also start feeling more strength. I start strengthening my back. And it kind of gives a interesting spice to what life is and why it shows such a great disparity between the haves and have-nots, where whether you agree or disagree with the algorithm of how we are moving forth in life currently, but it just shows you that along that tangent line or whatever you want to call it, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, the results are very clear. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, the results are also very clear because life does not give a damn and it doesn't discriminate. So, those days that I miss out from doing push ups and stretching and yoga or whatever, not only do I lose the strength that I'm gaining, I start developing pain. And it's like a double whammy. So, the blessings are double blessings, but the curses are double curses. And I'm like, damn, no wonder video games are so fun because people They love the bonuses, the dopamine feeling of achieving things. And because of the short span of how video games work, when you normally put in a good amount of work on a video game, you get to see those exponential blessings, especially if it's a game where you're facing off against other people who aren't putting in the work. You definitely see the exponential blessings of, oh my gosh, me checking in every day is giving me a great, amazing benefit advantage over everyone else who's checking in once a week or not at all, or even 80% of the time. But me going 100% is giving me that extra woody woo percentage, 50% over the person in second place or third place, because I'm getting those double ups and those triple ups, where you start understand, oh, that's why elitism works the way it does, where you have the super rich, the super 1% being so exponentially richer than the rest. And it's like, how could you or how do you even position yourself to be so far away from the pack? Because that is the nature of nature. Folks don't get it yet. They keep hating successful folks or folks who've been able to advance and not understanding the natural um exponential growth of life, bro. Is just, it's not saying that everything upon along the algorithm is correct and true, but I'm saying just the nature of it, the nature that the bigger things are that much bigger than the things that aren't doing it, or are that much more in advance than the things who are not. It's kind of factual, it's kind of truthful, it's kind of just is what it is. So here's like maybe one more example that could help you understand this. Kobe Bryant is considered like one of the best competitors in basketball ever. And I had to go to this example game, right? But I haven't really talked on sports since I started this video, so it's a great example. Everyone, everyone respected him because his competitiveness. When you faced Kobe, it was going to be a hard game. Even if you're going to beat him, it's not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a difficult game. And the reason why is because once he finishes the game, he starts his real game. It's almost like playing basketball during the actual games or practice for Kobe. After the game is when he actually started his game, where he would keep practicing, keep running, doing suicides and burpees and all kind of different heavy regimented stamina inducing or stamina pulling exercises and workouts and just drills. He would just drill himself like crazy. But that was building up his stamina. He would come in the next day before the game and be working out and shooting and practicing. And he would do this every day. It showed that someone who potentially was just average in terms of his stock and build compared to every other basketball player, right, could be Jordan esque just through regiment. He just made sure he checked in every day, he tapped in every hour that he could. And it created exponential growth compared to his competitors who were all super tall, big guys, all university alumni picks and stuff like that. He didn't even go to university. They pulled him straight out of high school. Like, you gotta kind of tip your hat to that. Him, Garnett, are a few of the first dudes to be that great from that young. So it's like, oh my gosh, practice. Allen Iverson was so naturally talented, but the big controversy that he started skipping practices. And it's like, come on, do you really think Allen Iverson was missing practices? Well, he might have missed one practice here and was late to a couple here and there. But when you start calculating and being like, wait, there's only 20 something games a season. So there's only 20 something practices a season or whatever the case may be for those games, right? And these numbers aren't accurate, but I'm just saying when you look at it, right? Kobe is going every practice as well as outside of practice hours, before practice hours, and they can just say, oh, he reminds us of Jordan. People argue and say, no, he's not better than Jordan. He didn't get, he didn't three-peat. He don't have 6 rings, blah, 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 right? So, still, and he didn't have fingers as big or hands as big as Jordan, so I guess, it is what it is. But, or I guess his hands were pretty big, but not as big as Jordan, so it makes it difficult, and he wasn't as tall or whatever. He wasn't as a physical demon built wise as Jordan was compared to his competition. So to still get that comparison, and to me, Kobe is the greatest. I'm not gonna get into my personals, but I'm just saying, right? But Allen, amazing player. Nobody, come on, everybody was wearing armbands and headbands and all this stuff because of AI. Okay, like we're in this AI age right now. It's impossible to give your flowers to the original AI. But still, he doesn't have any rings. Zero championships. His greatness to us will be the AI step over, the AI crossover, and the whole and one era, and more fashion. But it won't be for his actual accreditation in the sport because he wasn't always tapped in. And I kind of feel like I'm drawing out this point, but it's an important thought. Life shows you so often that when you're not checking in, okay, cool, you're good. Like no one's bothering you because you didn't check in to get your freebies. But eventually there's going to be a kairos moment, there's going to be a bottleneck situation, and you not having all those collections of tiny little 1 penny a day, 1 penny a day for 100 days to get your 100 pennies, now to have that dollar for the entrance fee and you're a dollar short, you're going to be annoyed that you let 100 days pass where you could have got a free penny. Yeah, today a free penny looks like nothing, but after 100 days and you're a dollar short for something, you're annoyed that you could have just had that and now you're broke. So so many, there's just, I don't know, it's like this message is gonna connect to somebody, because to me it connected in so many different ways where I'm like, oh damn, I really gotta step up. Now I can understand the fast-paced motion of successful people because they're not too worried about any specific thing. They're more so worried to ensure they tap in. That's why they be late and then leaving early, but not worried. Like they come to your meeting or come to your event, shake hands. Hey, how you guys doing? How everyone is? How smiling with a couple folk. Didn't really even get the gist of what this was even going on, but they're out and on to the next thing. But they're still made the point for why they went. If there was a situation that needed to be resolved or a networking issue that they were missing out on, they tapped in to witness it and to resolve it in the short time that they were there. Maybe it was a meet and greet for someone who's coming, but and they didn't even see the meet and greet. But the issues and whatever potential situations that could be mitigated were mitigated because they tapped in at least. A lot of y'all is like, oh, it's the meet and greet for whatever. I don't even need to be there. I'll show up for the actual anniversary or the actual real meeting or the actual situation, not understanding that you're missing out on opportunities to fix small little situations, tie little, cross your little bows or dot your little I's that you might have missed out on, situations you could have missed out on, and keep yourself at a high level. To be top tier is to be 100% and up. So the only way to be 100% and up is to always be given. It's like you're cooking a meal, and you're like, you know what? Let's just put it down, and I'll come back in 45 minutes and check it out. Versus the person who's checking in every 5 minutes and just seeing, oh, what's going on. Okay, yeah, you might have put the perfect set of ingredients and left the pot for 45 minutes. But the person who didn't put the perfect set of ingredients and kept coming back every 5 minutes, tasting it, coming back and turning it, it's still going to taste better. That love and dedication and attention to detail through consistent tapping in is way more effective than putting a great amount of work ahead of time and then saying leave it, oh yeah, it's done, we're good, I'm blessed. And that's why low level, in terms of they don't have the greatest skills, but they're disciplined in terms of tapping in and creating that momentum. Oh, they're always there at that meeting. They're there for 5 minutes. Okay, guys, I gotta go. You guys know I got work. I'll see you guys next week, though, right? We're all good. They're doing more in terms of just their day, even though they're spending less towards each thing. But the momentum is keeping them. And oh, yo, I don't think no one. I don't think it's gonna translate for some folks. It'll translate for a lot of folks. It's not gonna translate because you don't get it. You're still so focused on like, but that specific meeting was the meet and greet. So if I don't actually meet and greet the individual, how did I achieve my purpose for even going? But if you're somebody, who cares if you meet and greet? Like everyone else there is gonna talk about you. They're gonna be like, oh, you just missed so and so. They had to leave because they're going to something else. And that might even make more of an impact than if you were there to go shake that person's hand. The legend of you being so great that you had to leave. Now the person who you had to meet and greet with was like, oh, okay, well, let me get their contact. I gotta make sure I speak to them. Oh, it's unfortunate that they couldn't stay. But your presence was still felt because you came at least. You came there, you said hi, you said what up, and then you dipped, you had to go to the next. And I'm saying for folks who, okay, let's keep it real. On my phone I have a lot of apps. Since my phone was stolen and I got back this phone, I tried to not do that. I try not to download so many games. But my first iPhone or my previous iPhone, as well as my iPads, are saturated with so many games. And I don't know why at the time I thought that was okay to just be downloading so many games. But now when I look back, I see the benefit of regimenting my mind to say, oh yeah, this game, that game, this game, and that game. I need to check into this game and check into that game and keep up with this game and keep up with that game. Because if I logged in every day, I get a free this and I get a free that. If I don't log in, then I don't get this. And then, oh, some wolves came and killed this. And now I have to rebuild this because I wasn't there. Right. So that way of thinking was very apparent in these games that they want me to log in. They want me to tap in. They want me to spend more time in the game. Clearly so they could advertise to me, to people who are paying them for ads, ad revenue, for just the straight bandwidth, right? User hours, screen time hours, but also, like I said, the bandwidth. When you use these games and a lot of these software, they're using your bandwidth to do other things, which we're not going to get into now. But I see the relevance in life. Like I see that reality in life. It's like life wants you to participate with it in all factions and functions that you possibly can and should be. So let's say, for instance, I kept going to church all these years and kept tapping in, even though I feel the way I felt. But I stepped like, every Sunday, today's Sunday, I just was like, I'm gonna tap in, I'm gonna say what up to everyone. You know what? I'm not even gonna stay for the full service. I'm just gonna say what up during Sunday school and leave. I probably have all those relationships and all those brethren still calling and saying, brother Maxwell, brother Trill G. Even as I'm doing the music, secular music, because I realize like the folks who have been tapping in, even though they're not moving like me, or sorry, even though they are moving like me, they don't have that kind of reputation because they kept up face. And I knew that. I was a 7 day churchgoer. So that was the clearest that was the clearest through retrospection parallel of that fact of this wait. When I was tapped in church and I was there like 7 days a week, bro, I was getting everything and anything I needed, bro. Like, oh my gosh, there was so much times I needed whatever. Let's say a church was going on a trip and I didn't have it. I'd go around to the brethren and sisterine in the church and say, brother so and so, sister so and so, can I get a $5, $10, 20, 30? Bro, I would get so much money. So much money. Sister so and so, brother so give me a $50 this, that, and sponsor me to go on the church trip. And then on the church trip, It's paid for, but I got the extra money to go buy some drip. I'm buying some clothes. I'm going buying this from the Foot Locker store. Yes. But they knew I was doing that. They said yes, because they know your money, the you're paying for the trip, the money to food or whatever, and the things you need to do, and then spending money. And everyone knew that, okay, we want the youth to pay for the trip, and here's some money for yourself and some spending money. That's how it always went down. So they knew, okay, we're going to the States. We want our kids to buy some nice drip. That was always something. We're Jamaican people. Oh, you're going to New York? Yeah, man, we want to give you some money for buy some clothes. That's nothing new. But I'm just saying, I noticed that energy versus now where all the gifts I get for myself are free. Me. Not saying that if I was still a big grown adult in church, I would still be getting beer money from church. But even my brethren who are still in church, certain things are subsidized for them. Certain things they get, certain whatever is because they tapping in. And that's how it is in life. When you tap in, the resources are there in abundance more so for you because you're showing face. You're showing consistency. You're showing some kind of loyalty or dependence. Whatever it shows, it makes itself to the environment be. You're doing it. Checking in is almost like 80% the battle. And then the last, like, the next 15% is actually like communication for the space that you're in. And the last 5% is the actual knowledge for the space. I swear, like 80% of the battle that most of the people are struggling with in their lives is just showing up to whatever the situation is or the or environment that you're trying to succeed in. Just showing up. And then the last 15% is the communication. Or the next 15% is like communicating. Let's say it's with the teacher to be able to be like, yes, and just like communicate. And then the last 5% is the real knowledge. Because most things you don't even really need to know that much. And once you know something in one realm, you normally can apply it in so many other realms. That makes learning curves so easy and exponentially what they become when you start tapping in every day. Because the bare minimums is like nothing. And now you're trying to double up, triple up, quadruple up on bare minimums. While there's certain people who still can't even meet the bare minimum because they ain't tapped in enough to understand the algorithm, understand the simplicity of what they're trying to achieve in that scenario. And it's like, damn, no wonder it's a game then, because games are all the same. Games are difficult in the beginning and easy at the end. To the point where you're bored and you throw the game away, or you start making money from it and you become a professional. Either or, that's how games are. And that's the same with life. Life is very difficult in the beginning. You could look back at your childhood, you can look back at your most traumatic situations, and you could think now, if you were to go through those traumatic scenarios, would they be really traumatizing to you? No, they're not. But you create even more so new traumatizing scenarios if you aren't tapping in every day. If you're not tapping in every day, sharpening the skills, keeping everything accrue a consistent accruement, then boom, one little blip in one little blip in the system, one little blip, one little earthquake, and your whole foundation is collapsing, and it's apocalypse, and everyone's crying, everyone's dying, everything's just horrible. And I'm realizing all of that could really be avoided by just keeping the momentum up by tapping in. You know what? I didn't work out today, so I'm gonna do 20 push-ups before I go to bed. You know what? I didn't do my proper meditations and this, so you know what? I'm going to, when I use the bathroom, I'm gonna do some mantras while I'm showering, having a shower, right? Well, I didn't do the full thing, so I'm just gonna still do the light version. That's still good, guys. Like that's not gonna keep you every single day moving forward. You wake up tomorrow and you say, okay, let's go hard. Or sometimes you'd be like, you know what? Full gym routine. I'm tired, but I'm not going to bed until I do the full gym routine. And you spend another 40 minutes and you go hard, and then you just go take a little 10-minute shower and go to bed. Sometimes it's that too, right? Like tapping in. You just gotta tap in, because if you just don't, you lose so much. Okay, last example. Last example. So there's a game I do have downloaded on this phone. I do have a game downloaded on this phone right now. I'm not gonna say the game. But if you can guess it by the end, good for you. But it's a village that I'm building and working and trying to keep alive and keep them surviving. And if I don't check in for a couple days because I'm busy work, whatever other things I'm doing, I'll go back to the game and one of the villagers would have died, maybe even two. I'll notice some other players will have come and raided my village, and a lot of my resources are gone. I will have also have missed out on the freebies that I would have gotten over those last 2 days. So I think you're really getting the point, right? But when I do tap in every day, okay, all my villagers aren't gonna die because I'm there. For some reason, I'm there. They're not dying. I don't ever see a villager die in front of me. In this game, no villager dies in front of me. Only when I leave and come back, oh, someone died. But yeah, so no one dies. Um, I get all the freebies, and I don't witness any of these raids. I've never witnessed anyone raiding me. Now that might just be the luck of the draw, because I have logged in once and I seen, oh, someone just raided you like an hour ago. I'm like, what? How did I just miss that? Like, you know? But generally, it lets you know that when there's a watchful eye, just the behavior of the environment has to change, because every nuance that represents that is clearly there and it's represented. Have you ever been into an abandoned house? You could tell that it's abandoned. The grass, the lawn is grown up high. You could see the weeds. I said that was the last example, but I feel like there's still going to be a couple people who don't get how important this thing is that I'm saying. So I feel like I sometimes I gotta reiterate the reiteration. But you go by an abandoned house, you could tell just from the outside, the grass is grown, right? Shrubs, everything just looks unkept. You go inside, dust, right? Webs, cobwebs, mice. Yeah, there might be mice. There might be pests inside the space that just happened to make their way in there because there was no human presence to scare them away. And depending on the scenario, right? Let's say there was a little crevice in somewhere in the a crack in the foundation somewhere. Because no one was there in the house to just maintain and fix it, critters start walking through it every day. It starts ripping out, breaking out. Now it's a instead of it being a tiny hole, it's a big hole. Now some big animal sees it, starts picking at it to get its way in, and now it's a big gaping hole with a bunch of critters on the inside. Just because no one was in the house maintaining and keeping it up. Yeah, I think the point is very clear now, right? That even if I'm a homeowner and I own multiple properties, and this is just a property that I have and I don't really care about it, I plan to sell it in 20 years. I should at least pay for a management agency or pay a cousin or someone to go to that property, or at least I got to go to that property every week. Yeah, 4 times a month, or at least, once a month. But I don't think once a month is often, or twice a month is often enough. Things can happen, a fire, things can happen on a weekly, daily basis. So it should be once a week. My landlord checks in here like once a week. If not her directly, there's people on her team who's pulling up, whether it be to drop off mail, okay, or to just check things around the property. That's real maintenance. That's real tapping in. Not like she has to come every single time and change the furnace filter and come every single time and go on the roof and start pulling up tiles and whatever. No, just the maintenance, just tapping in. Oh, no one's disgruntled? Okay, cool. But what if she didn't tap in and I was disgruntled last month, but I just sent the rent anyways? And this month I'm still disgruntled, but she didn't pull up to even see. And after, The third month, something happens in the space, and I use that, and I just go off, and I just decide to, I don't know, pack up and leave, and she's not prepared to get somebody to take over. And she now has a gap of 3 months or 2 months of missing the rent from me because I pick up and leave. Versus if she just came in and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey, how you?" You know what I mean? So it's like small little things. You never know what could be the feather to break the camel's back. And if you're tapping in, checking in, you're able to stop all the feathers. Like no feathers landing nowhere. It's a feather, my God. You could grab them like this, like you're Super Saiyan grabbing feathers. No feather is landing on not a one back ever. And I think if you start understanding that's the reality of life. Like the life is not no big boulder coming and wiping people out, but it's a bunch of feathers breaking backs that folks is just oblivious to how these things are happening in their lives, and they're just so trying to keep up with the Joneses and so focused on whatever, like I said, now is keeping up with the Kardashians, right? They're just not focused on the small upkeeps to build momentum in their life and to get them out of scenarios and situations that they're building, that are slowly encroaching on them, because life is like walking on an escalator, that's going the opposite way. If you're not gonna continue and to speed up and get stronger, you're only getting weaker, slowing down, and being driven backwards. Anyways, I think that was like 20 different ways to say the same thing. If you don't get it, my God, I don't know.